Good morning, and thank you guys for joining the Meridian Partner Spotlight webinar series featuring RAMP today. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes to allow a few people to join, and then we'll get started. It is now 2 past the hour. We'll go ahead and get started. Doug, I'll pass it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate it. And appreciate everybody for joining us. This is Meridian's continuing partner spotlight series where we highlight a partner that helps take NetSuite to market with us and helps you expand or extend the value of your investment in the NetSuite platform. Today, proud to have Nigel and Eric from RAMP with us to give you an overview of their AP automation tool and give it a little bit of background about how it interfaces with NetSuite and what all it can do for your organization. They're better suited to give you that detail. So, Nigel, if you could advance the slide, I'll tell you a little bit more about NetSuite's business here. We are a NetSuite solution provider. That means as a partner of NetSuite, we are authorized to resell the NetSuite platform, implement the NetSuite platform for you, and provide ongoing long-term managed services and support to help you continually optimize and extend the platform. We do business development or business process consulting in the pre-sales mode, full complement of implementation of the NetSuite platform, as well as some other partner solutions such as Avalara, and we are Celigo certified, which is an integration platform as a service. NetSuite's pretty cool, but it doesn't do everything. This is why we want to highlight partners from time to time to keep our user base and those interested in evaluating NetSuite abreast of the ecosystem of solutions that are out there around NetSuite. Managed services and support are here to be a backstop for your administration of NetSuite. Predominantly, that line of business for us is a series of mini projects. We can answer a lot of the how do I questions, but for the most part, we do a series of smaller projects aimed at bringing a new module on or extending or modifying a business process as your business changes over time. So with no further ado, Nigel, I'll turn it over to you. Take us through RAMP. We're excited to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let Eric do a little intro as well. Eric, if you want to kick things off.
Yeah, absolutely. Doug and Jenny, thank you guys so much. Meridian folks, thanks for having us as well. My name is Eric Langerich, and I support our Alliance Partner Program. So making sure that Meridian is well equipped to both position and sell RAMP and recommend it to their customers, as well as service and implement it as well. So we really enjoy our relationship with Meridian. It's fruitful, and we're looking to expand it as well. And thank you guys for having us on. And I'm going to pass it over to Nigel.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. But yeah, just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Nigel. I'm a solutions consultant here at RAMP, and I am particularly focused within our partner ecosystem, helping our partners like Meridian utilize some other additional point solutions to increase the value of their NetSuite offerings. So happy to be here today, and more than happy to answer any questions and such people may have after. So we'll have all contact information and such shared as needed. But without further ado, let's kick it off and talk a little bit about RAMP. So what we're going to be going over through today is exactly just figuring out what is RAMP for those who haven't heard of RAMP before, aren't familiar, or maybe have heard a little bit about it. Let's talk about what the service offerings of RAMP are and kind of where we sit in the whole kind of AP automation market. We'll talk about our ideal customer profile, or our ICP, about what kind of businesses we serve, who we're a good fit for. And as well, then we'll kind of drive into what our value proposition is, what makes RAMP so valuable to our customers and our users. Lastly, we're going to spend a good chunk of time today actually getting into RAMP, seeing how it works, some of the core processes, automation features and such, so you can get an idea of how RAMP can fit into your business. So first off, what is RAMP? Well, RAMP is the finance automation platform for modern businesses. So what do we mean by that? What we're looking to do is help automate, consolidate, and streamline all of your different kind of spending processes that occur within your finance departments, whether that be corporate credit card spending or reimbursements, could be procurement and bill pay needs, or even all the way down to travel and booking flights and hotels for different kind of company travel. RAMP is going to be your one-stop shop to be able to perform all of those different processes under one roof. And we have different kinds of integrations to connect and have seamless data flow with all of your other different providers as well. But as you can see here, RAMP already has, in just 5 years of being in business, we have over 30,000 customers and process $20 billion worth of payments annually. And in that short amount of time, we've even have some big companies like Shopify or the US basketball team that leverage RAMP and its capabilities to help their businesses perform. But we don't just serve big brand name businesses. We also serve a large amount of small businesses, startup firms that are looking to kind of get in the game of automation and help decrease the amount of time that they have to spend on manual tasks. So RAMP is fit for everybody, truly, from small companies all the way down, or all the way up to massive enterprises. And it's very easy to become a RAMP customer. When a lot of people who have heard of RAMP, usually they think of, oh, that's that new corporate credit card company. And certainly that's how we came blazing into the field, as kind of a new innovative corporate card for companies to utilize. But we have expanded to be much more than just that. So of course, we still have our corporate credit card and the expense management that comes with that. But on top of it, we also are helping to streamline companies' procure to pay processes. So actually sending in purchase requests or purchase orders and getting those out to vendors. Your different vendor management that is also needed within those processes. Also then, after kind of your payments out, you've received your goods, and now it's time to pay. We also have all of your AP and bill pay needs all within RAMP, whether you're paying via the RAMP credit card, ACHs, so on and so forth. You have the ability to make all of your payments out of RAMP and leverage the different kinds of tools and features we have there. And of course, all of this would be invaluable, or not too valuable, if we did not have advanced accounting integrations as well. And one of our strongest accounting integrations is with the NetSuite ERP platform, where we're able to have data sync 2 ways, from transactions and data from RAMP syncing into NetSuite and creating your transactions for you, while also having your transactions in NetSuite sync to RAMP. So advanced 2-way data streams there, again, leading to more seamless processes for finance departments to remove some of those manual tasks and focus on more of the value add initiatives that are going on at their companies. So, and as we pointed out, right, we want RAMP to be that all-in-one stop for our finance departments to be able to perform their key needs. And in order to do that, as I was pointing out, we need to make sure that RAMP can talk and send data seamlessly to multiple different software platforms that business use to enhance their operating capabilities. So as I talked about first, right, accounting ERP integrations, absolutely key. We can do all the automation we want in Ramp to take off the burden there. But if we can't sync those transactions to your ERP to get them into your GL, now we're hitting more manual areas too. So that's where really those key ERP integrations that we have that we create out of the box and are as simple as really a 3-4 step process to get Ramp integrated to your ERPs is really what changes the game and makes it from end to end a fully automated process. But doesn't stop just at accounting systems. We also touch on your HR systems to get your employee data, your department structures, and so on. So we can leverage that when it comes to approval workflows and such in Ramp. Of course, if we're making your bill payments, we need to have strong integrations to your banking apps as well. So making sure that we have the connections needed there to be able to send payments to your needed vendors. And as well, your other different business tools that you may use. Again, if we want to leverage as much automation as possible, especially when it comes to spend management, having integrations to apps like Lyft or Uber as you're taking kind of taxi rides for different business events, we can capture the receipts right for you by integrating to those apps, or even just integrating to Gmail and having receipts sent to Gmail. We can integrate again to automate those processes for you. So that's really what's key with Ramp is we want to be not the centralized hub of your bill pay, but in order to do that, we need to make sure that we're connected to all of your other different business apps. So that way we can have data seamlessly flowing from all different corners of your business. So that way you can focus again on those value add initiatives. So now that we've talked a little bit about what Ramp is, what is our ICP or our ideal customer profile? And really, the answer is we're not pinned down in one market. We serve small startup businesses and medium-sized businesses in that SMB field, all the way into mid-market, kind of your fast growth companies that are expanding rapidly up to 1,000 employees, or even bigger than that, your strategic or enterprise businesses, as it's called. We're able to offer solutions for all different market segments to fit the needs of those different businesses. And we have our sales teams strategically placed to serve these different components to make sure that we're leading the discussions in an appropriate manner to solve the key needs that those businesses have and the key struggles that they may be going through. So again, right, the whole key here is Ramp is not just built for small businesses. It's not just built for big enterprises. It's really built for everybody. And there's different parts of Ramp that you can leverage depending on what your business need is to get added value to you and your finance teams. So within those different customer segments, where can Ramp really be a great fit into your tech stack? So as we looked on the left-hand side, kind of that annual revenue of less than 50 million, that's talking about our kind of SMB or small middle market businesses, or small medium sized. We're able to see that Ramp can take over a large majority of your tech stack, right? As we talked about, corporate cards and expense management, something very easy for these companies to jump into and utilize with Ramp, but also their accounts payable, travel booking, and procurement. All of that can easily be utilized via Ramp because of our advanced functionality that can fit all of the needs of different small businesses. Of course, like we said, we're still going to integrate to NetSuite, have that be a part of the tech stack and HR systems. But overall, we see Ramp as being a perfect fit for these small, medium-sized businesses to have Ramp be a significant portion of their tech stack, again, making it a far more seamless operation for finance departments or controllers to be able to manage all their spending in one place. As we get up to medium-sized businesses, right, that's where we see Ramp really dominating within corporate card expense management and accounts payable. This is where we've really built out our solution to be incredibly robust for these size businesses, while we're still working to expand our functionality so that way we can actually take on still travel booking and procurement as well for our middle market businesses. And again, as we get into kind of our larger, bigger enterprises, we're seeing Ramp as really being a big player as within corporate cards and expense management. But once again, we're building up that advanced functionality to fit the unique needs that enterprise businesses have. But what we know about Ramp is we are obsessed with growth. We are obsessed with enhancing our functionality, building out new tools and features that allow for us to be a good fit for these different businesses that have more intricate needs. So Ramp certainly doesn't see us as, this is where we're going to fit for for, the end of time, and that'll be it. We see Ramp as really moving forward in the near future, even by, beginning to middle of next year, as becoming a bigger player in that middle market to, again, like I said, take over the procurement systems and travel booking, be robust enough to handle some of the more intricate and unique needs that come from those businesses. And as well as with our larger enterprises, right, expanding into accounts payable, having full functionality to be able to handle all the different nuances and intricate situations that may arise. So as we said, Ramp is constantly growing. We've come out with 5 new ERP integrations just in this year alone. We've released our procurement or procure to pay features just within this year, and we're seeing a high level of adoption. So Ramp is an incredibly fast moving company. We continue to find out how we're going to dominate the space in bigger sections of the market, to make sure that Ramp can be that consolidated tech stack for all sized businesses. So now that we've kind of talked about what customers we serve and what Ramp is, what really is our key value proposition? Why are we so valuable to customers? And as I said, once again, and this is a huge component for Ramp, right? We see finance teams are constantly toggling between 2, 3 different software systems in order to manage their corporate cards, to manage their expenses, and to go through their procurement processes. With Ramp, we want to consolidate all that down to one, right? And that makes it such a seamless procedure for our customers to have all of these processes be handled under one roof. It leads to enhanced automation functionality because we're having the data in a centralized location, and we can have it easily be transferable from, purchase orders to invoices. But it also relieves the different kinds of tensions and issues that can arise when you're having to rely on data flowing between different systems, having users set up in all these different systems, and the licensing and subscription fees that come with different systems. Right? Having it all under one roof is eliminating that additional cost, the additional time spent, and the additional kind of technical obstacles that you're going to have to go through in order to make sure those systems communicate effectively. So having it all within one roof is really an incredibly valuable asset for companies to have, to make it far easier to manage and control their spending. As we've been talking about, right, as Ramp grows and as companies adopt Ramp, we really see Ramp becoming a large portion of their key kind of finance tech stack, where instead of having 2, 3, 4 different tools to manage cards, expenses, and procurement and bill pay, we want all of that to be under Ramp. And truly, that is an incredibly valuable change for business to have it all be under one roof. But it's not just on the simplicity and kind of the added functionality that Ramp offers. We also have found that we are able to save customers an incredible amount of money in a short amount of time. And when it comes to, right, the return on investment for actually joining Ramp, setting up users and going through an implementation, we see a massive return on investment of over 500%. Because of the $90,000 in cost savings that even smaller businesses of just a 250 person organization can see in just a 3-year period from using Ramp. And that comes from 3 key areas. The first is legitimate cost savings of the different insights that Ramp is able to provide to our customers. So when you're utilizing Ramp and paying your bills through Ramp, we're able to identify duplicate spending to make sure that you're not double paying on vendors and so on and wasting money in that fashion. But even furthermore, your different subscriptions that you may have, we're able to actually analyze and see if you're overspending in some of those areas based on kind of industry averages that we're able to find through our data, and be able to tell you, hey, it might be time to renegotiate your contract with, vendor XYZ. to save you some money with those different subscriptions. That's right. Immediate cost savings at the head dollar amount from utilizing Ramp, and the key insights that we offer through our AI tools that are able to identify those opportunities for you. But it's not just strictly dollars, it's also about time, right? And so employees submitting expenses or accounting teams spending so much of their day trying to just close their books for the month. All of the time spent on that is money that is costing a business. So it's also the time that we save employees is leading to an incredible value of Ramp. And again, builds on that massive return on investment when companies decide to switch and utilize Ramp. And again, just kind of building upon this, we've seen over $1 billion in savings for our customers in just that 5-year period, and over 10 million hours in time savings. So that's really what Ramp is out here to do. We want to save you time and money, right? And usually as you're saving one, you're helping to save another. So it comes in all different areas of card spending or our spend insights, like we said. Ramp is built to save our customers money. That is our goal at the end of the day. And right, that's through our automation and our insights tools that we leverage, the state-of-the-art AI that is coming out to help our customers realize that value that they can bring. But enough about PowerPoint slides and kind of talking through Ramp. Let's actually see what Ramp looks like for our end users and what some of these processes are like. So first thing that I want to start with is actually showcasing our Ramp mobile app. So as you're using your corporate credit card, you're submitting expense reports. Let's showcase how Ramp can help streamline that process for you.
Operate on the go with Ramp's mobile app. Instantly find items that need your attention, such as adding a receipt to a previous transaction or inputting proper accounting information. Scroll to find real-time activity, such as card transactions and flagged items. Suggested coding for employees and users. Ramp learns how people code and surfaces the most commonly used correct coding to make it easier for people to quickly choose the right option. Click into your cards to see all available cards, as well as ones linked to your physical card. Enable automatic card matching and let Ramp AI assign approved transactions to the best suited card rather than flip through every card while holding up the line. Tap on a virtual card to see associated details and options. It is here you can see card details, add to your Apple Wallet, understand card policies, and finally see all relevant activity. Spend controls help finance teams restrict virtual cards to specific merchants, as well as categories. Ramp virtual cards are also able to be shared amongst peers. Give teams and departments flexibility in their spending with shared limits. Get visibility into who's spending what, and take action like locking or removing users from the associated card. Reimbursements have never been made easier than doing so on a Ramp's mobile app. Easily submit a reimbursement request, upload or take a picture of the receipt, and watch as Ramp's OCR matches line items and categories in real time. Missing some info or get interrupted? Easily save a draft and come back to it when ready. Easily take action within Ramp's mobile app, like requesting a virtual card. Let's create one for coffee. Enter your card's name, dollar amount, and frequency of funds. Certain fields can also be made required so that your finance or approving team have all the necessary information they need. When ready, go ahead and press submit, and an approver will be routed the request. Ramp Mobile is also great for managers. Whether it's your expenses or your teams, take action and get visibility into it all. Managers can operate out of their My Ramp inbox. Here, they can unblock their teams with fast approvals for cards, reimbursements, and limit changes. Here's that virtual card request we saw submitted earlier. Easily swipe to approve or decline. Manage employee reimbursement requests. If declining, provide a reason for your employee to update. Finally, gain visibility and manage all transaction requests from your team. Flag or approve transactions. You can additionally click into the virtual card and lock it. This will block all transaction requests from this card. The Ramp mobile app gives employees and managers all the tools necessary to operate on the go. Thanks for watching.
Awesome. So I wanted to make sure we showcase that video to help see what the Ramp mobile app is like, and right, especially for our customers who have employees on the go, traveling to and from. Having a robust app that can help process all the different needs, whether it's receipt capturing, requesting new funds for spending, our Ramp app is able to do it all for you. So I wanted to quickly give that snippet to showcase what it would look like for a customer utilizing the app. But let's also dive into what Ramp itself looks like. So as we can see here, right, we open up Ramp. Usually we open up to our My Ramp page, right? Where this gives me some quick flashes of some of the items that I may have kind of due for me, or the expenses that I'm trying to submit, and some action items within it. Easily laid out for me, so I know exactly what I may need to do. But to take a quick step back, let's look at the left-hand side, kind of our navigation pane, as you'll call it. So currently I have, right, admin access. So I'm seeing everything available in Ramp that admins and those who are fully managing the Ramp environment would be able to see. It would look a little bit different for end users who are just utilizing certain parts of Ramp. So for instance, right, my Ramp account, a little bit smaller, different kind of setup and feel, and a lot more limited access. But when it comes to being an admin, right, we give you full power to control all the different components that are needed. So the first couple things I want to touch upon is our expenses tab. And so what expenses is, right, this is really kind of geared towards the end users who are trying to, and managers who are trying to track and approve spending needs. The expenses tab is where you're going to be able to record and kind of manage all of that, whether it's card transactions, reimbursements, or different travel needs. You have different pages to be able to manage those different areas and different spend types. So with card transactions, what we can quickly get a glimpse at is, okay, what is my company credit cards balances for our organization for the month, right? So quickly get a snippet there versus maybe what our total limit is and exactly how close we are to the limit. So we can make sure to manage, are we getting close to our limit? Do we need to kind of expand our roof of what our spending capabilities are going to need to be through the card? All of it very easy and intuitive for users to have. And of course, we've got a table down below with all our different transactions, and of course, as well, our status of them. So within our All tab, we can see everything that we have, whether it's cleared, pending, and such. But at the top, we can get a little bit more specific if we need to see, okay, what items actually need my attention? I don't want to just have to sift through and find. I just want to know what I need to review. So as an admin or a manager, I can easily go through and see, okay, what kind of items are still needed, who's the approver, and maybe do we want to spend or not, or do we want to approve or not? So we can see we've got a lot that are within our company policy, but we still want to make sure is recorded appropriately and goes through the right approval process to fit kind of our business needs. But on top of that, and this is one of the key things about Ramp is not built to be a reactionary tool where you have employees spending and now we have to just dig through all of our transactions to find out what may be in or out of policy. Ramp is there to fully flag anything that's out of policy, to make it right in front of your inbox and right to the front of your attention of what is out of policy and what the reason is. So within this flags column, we can see, okay, this transaction exceeded our per diem limit. So why is that? Is there a certain special occasion? Was it recorded improperly? So we're trying to make sure, okay, what's our flag here? Or maybe the receipt doesn't match what they expensed, right? What kind of issues could be occurring? So Ramp is there to flag that for you, let you know so you can make a clear and informed decision on what the next best steps are. But Ramp does not only just flag transactions, we can actually set up Ramp credit cards to decline transactions right off the bat if they are out of policy. So you have that option of, if this event occurs, right, we have spending at certain vendors on a certain card, we're able to actually just have that transaction declined and not ever even get approved. Or if we maybe want to say, hey, just flag it instead of declining it, and then we can figure out how to manage it later, we can take that step too. So that's really key with Ramp, right? We want to be a proactive tool, but we're also giving you the different customizable controls to figure out how your business needs to manage different situations. Of course, right, we can see what some of our approved transactions are, as well as maybe if we had any declined transactions. So, right, that's all within just credit cards. What kind of card transactions are we seeing and what approvals may need to occur? Same goes for reimbursements, where we can see overview of all of them, what needs our attention and needs to be approved, as well as what may be pending in our history of it. One thing that's great to point out with our expenses tab is all of these transactions we're seeing stay within Ramp forever. So that way, if you ever need to go back 5 years prior even to see what transaction occurred, we keep that history for you in Ramp so it can easily be found. And we can also track the spending over the long term to see what trends we're finding. So that's one key part of this expenses tab, is you're able to have things noted here throughout the end of time. The next tab I want to talk about that is very, very similar to it, but has some different kind of functionality and reasons for it, is the accounting tab. So accounting tab is more so geared toward your admin, your controllers, right? And the key players in your accounting department, for them to be able to review and maybe update transactions as needed, make sure all of your financial or your accounting coding is set up appropriately before syncing these transactions to your ERP system. So through doing that, right, a big component of why that is key is for month-end close, right? We want to make sure we're approving and having everything recorded correctly as we're getting ready and finalizing our month end. So what the accounting screen shows instead is, right, same thing of overview and what needs review, but as you review, approve, and then sync your transactions, that data actually clears from our accounting list to showcase, okay, I've gone through everything for the month, and now I know I'm good to close the month because I've been able to work through all the needed transactions. So that's one of the key differences that I wanted to point out between expenses, right, where you can track it in perpetuity, versus accounting, which is meant for, I need to track exactly what's needed from me in this month in order to kind of close my books and finish out those processes. And once it's cleared, it cleans up the page for you. So it's easy to manage, easy to see what needs to be done versus what has already been completed. But we see the same thing here, Ramp cards, reimbursements, and even our payments as it relates to our bill pay and credit card statements. All right, so that was a quick kind of overview of expenses and our accounting tab and kind of the reasons for those and the differences between them. But what about our actual cards that we talked about? So it was briefly mentioned in the video, but they talked about physical cards versus virtual cards and what kind of the differences are and the use cases are for why we have physical versus virtual. To start with physical Physical cards are exactly what you're thinking, the legitimate credit card that you keep in your wallet, that as you're going through and tapping to pay or swiping or inserting a chip, that physical card is what you can utilize to record your expenses and have them automatically submitted to Ramp. So that's what we think about as our physical card. Able to kind of use it in person or right even online. If you're buying things online for your business, you utilize that physical card in order to actually go through the transaction. However, we have multiple virtual cards that act as kind of the control and the different kind of spending situations that may occur. Virtual cards can have different kinds of settings, controls, and requirements to be set up for different kind of spending situations. So whether it's, as pointed out in the video, it's just a weekly kind of coffee expense. Maybe you do a weekly chat with a customer or client. We can have a credit card that is specifically for that. We set up controls on it that it's only able to be used at vendors that fit kind of that coffee shop category, and can make sure that only that card can only be used for those type of transactions. We can also have credit cards set up for maybe like client travel and trips, where if you're using it for airlines or hotels or food or any different kinds of needs as you're out and about on business travel, we can have a card set up again to have specific spending controls for that situation. So, right, we can have as many virtual cards as we want. Those are not limited by user or for a company. You can set up as many virtual cards as needed for the differing spending situations that may arise for a company. But now, how do we connect kind of the virtual to the physical card? If I'm swiping with physical, what does that actually mean? So, what Ramp's able to do is take any transactions that may go through your physical card, and it will match it automatically to an appropriate virtual card. And of course, right, there can be situations where maybe it doesn't align it perfectly. So you're always able to adjust what virtual card your transaction may be tagged to, and therefore what kind of controls and such may be fit for it. Or before I go through spend, I can even assign, okay, when I'm tapping my physical card right now, I want it to be connected to my virtual card that's for, my weekly coffee spend. So you can set up before you even pay, transaction is going to be tagged to this virtual card, right? So that's really how it works. Is our virtual cards offer the different controls and the different kind of spending limits and such that may occur for different spending situations. And the physical card really just acts as the vehicle that allows you to kind of spend on it. So again, that's kind of the key difference there. Employees only get one physical card per employee. But again, it's multiple virtual cards can then be attributed to those employees and therefore can be used within the physical card. You're not limited to only be able to use the physical card. If you're buying things online and you just want to tag your virtual card instead, you're still able to do so. It has, of course, your credit card number, expiration date, security code, and so on. So you can actually spend straight from the virtual card as well, if that's needed, but you also have the capability to spend via your physical card. I can quickly see within cards tab what kind of requests may be as a manager, if my team is requesting spend needs, I can see what requests need my action, what's pending, and maybe the history of what I have approved. On top of it, I can also issue spend to my different employees for different needs, So if I wanted to give an employee access for a new physical or a new virtual card, I can quickly go through and say, all right, Creed is actually going to need some money for funds for his business trip to NYC. And what we can say, maybe this is actually just a one-time use instead of it being a weekly recurring limit or monthly or even quarterly and yearly. I'm going to say instead, this is just one time for one trip he's doing, and I'm going to give him a $2,500 limit for this trip, So immediately starting to set up what kind of the spending controls are. I can have different policies that can be set up to say what kind of approvals or controls I want to attach to this card. That makes it a little bit easier rather than having to set it up manually every time. Or if I want, right, I can assign those kind of controls and restrictions myself on each card. So like we said, I can say, do I want to allow certain categories of vendors, or do I want to block certain categories of vendors? Maybe I know he's going to NYC and I want to make sure that there's no like casinos that are going on. So I can block any category of gambling. So that way I know that no company money is being spent out of policy on gambling, right? So different kinds of controls like that. Or maybe I just want to say this should actually only be used at restaurants, or maybe airlines and hotels, or other kind of lodging. Now I can quickly set that up, say save my changes, and now I know this card, if it is not utilized at kind of one of these three categories, it's going to automatically either decline the transaction or flag it for me and my team to review. Right, so I can set what time, what period of time this card can be used for, right? If I know his business trip is a Monday to Wednesday, I can set up when this card should only be able to be transacted with, as well as what additional reviews may be needed, or the accounting coding that should be attributed to it. So all different rules to create different kinds of spending controls for your differing situations, again, to make it so you can be proactive in controlling your company spend versus having to be reactive and dig through transactions and receipts to make sure things are staying in policy. So that's a quick overview of cards, right? How we can issue them to employees. Our employees can also request spend. So instead of me granting it to Creed, I can have Creed actually request a card for the same kind of reasons. And then I can go through and edit maybe some different controls on it and then approve it to issue that virtual card to Creed. So that's a quick kind of dive through cards, how you can issue them, and the different kind of controls that you can attribute to them. But what about spend programs? So this is getting a little bit more so into our AP and procure to pay area of Ramp and the functionality that exists there, but still also exists with our credit card spending as well. So what spend programs are, though, are kind of preset controls and situations that we have created in Ramp to, again, kind of streamline that creation process of whether it's different POs that need to be made or different credit cards that need to be distributed to employees. We can create different spend programs that allow you to have kind of a key process set up to make sure all of the needed info is sent in when requests are made, or having certain controls designed. So for instance, right, if I know I'm going out on a client trip and I need to request spend for this trip and maybe any events that may happen, I can quickly say, okay, let's request spend. And now I can dictate, is this going to be a one-time expense or a monthly expense? When my start and end date are going to be, what the spend is going to be for, right? The amount and so on. And I can even add a message to my approvers, and then I can request that spend. But right, these spend programs are fully customizable. So instead, if I wanted to create or maybe edit this client entertainment and events spend program, I can come in and say, maybe I want to just change the name to something else or the icon attributed to it. I can easily have kind of customization over all these features. Furthermore, right, do I want their request to be for just kind of generic description of what they're expecting to have spend on, or maybe a specific item? Or maybe this is more so tied to like inventory items. Unlikely for client entertainment and events, but if I did want it to actually be tied to inventory items, I can have my different financial dimensions from NetSuite set up to be included in the request, again, to make that accounting coding easy for our team at the end of the day. And so now we see, right, we have a description, but now it's asking me to choose either a NetSuite category of, oh, this is going to be, IT equipment and the accounting category we have there. Or maybe it is a specific inventory item of, a laptop or a new monitor that we're acquiring if we track that via inventory. Right, so different kinds of options here for, again, making it so as spend requests are coming through, you have key controls to be able to manage those requests as needed. Right. Furthermore, I can have different controls over the approvals too of when spend requests are needed. So we have full customization of our approval processes to have different triggers initiated for different kind of spending situations. And I can either use out of the box functionality of, yep, just send this through admin or maybe managers, or I can edit this workflow and customize it to maybe my business's specific needs, where maybe I need to set a condition of if the amount of a request is greater than or equal to 10,000. Okay, if that occurs, I need to make sure this is getting approved by the appropriate people. Maybe we want it to go to finance approvers if it's over that much. And any users that we have set up in Ramp as finance approvers now will be required to approve the transaction if it's over 10,000, right? But it doesn't just stop there, right? We can have different kinds of reasons and different triggers that allow it. Maybe it's what entity is being transacted with. That may change who needs to approve it, so we can set up conditions for that. Maybe it's a specific employee we want to set up rules for, or maybe exceptions for. Oh, if the employee is, one of our executives or their level is executive, skip all approval and just approve the expense as is. Maybe certain vendors, right? As we can see, all of these differing situations, we can set up trigger points to have Ramp say, oh, we've detected this in the transaction. We need to have it now routed through this kind of customized approval process. So you're able to have as customized of an approval for different transaction situations built out in Ramp for you. I'll just discard this, right? Of course, we can keep going through whether we want this to be a purchase order, or maybe we distribute a virtual card based on the request that's made, or maybe what kind of invoice matching. Again, if we're doing inventory items, if we need to utilize three-way matching in order to pay the bill, we can have these different kind of controls set up in Ramp. Right, so spend programs can be an incredibly powerful tool to allow you to, again, have that customized control over when employees are requesting spend, what information they need to make sure they submit, and also, right, what maybe approvals or different controls then need to be put on to that different spend, whether it's a purchase order or a virtual card that may be distributed. But that's kind of the key of our spend programs. And what spend programs really lead into, like I was talking about, is our procure to pay process, where now in Ramp, we're able to have employees go through and create purchase requisitions, purchase requests, to then have that be transitioned into either purchase orders or corporate credit cards. So if I say request spend, guess what we see here? Oh, either kind of a generic spend for virtual cards, or down below, I have all of my spend programs that I have created for my organization available, so I can say, okay, we actually have some consulting services needed. I can go through and submit the needed information to my finance team or to my managers to have this approval go through. Right, so key thing where those spend programs can come in handy, so I can know exactly what vendor this request is going to, what department this is going to. All of this different kind of information that may be needed for this specific spend situation, I have the ability to customize that. But as we request different, as we go through and create different procurement requests, right, we can look at this one, for example. I can see through here that I created a request for a couple inventory items. We have component A and IT equipment that is needed. I have all the information on the quantity and the rate and the total amount that is attributed to this spend request. And what we can see is this actually has created a PO for me. So let's now go down to our purchase orders. What we see here is now I've got my butchery purchase order. I open it up and I see that same information from my purchase request. Right, I can go into PO info and I can set up, maybe what the payment terms are for the purchase order, fill in any kind of needed vendor information or our own company information, as well too. I have control over the different accounting codes that may be needed to be posted with this transaction. Again, and that can be down to the item or line level as well. right? So it can be really key to have purchase orders made, to be able to track and approve spending as needed, right? To handle those different kind of procurement needs that may come up for a business, right? But once we have our purchase order out, it gets sent to our vendor. Now we may need to, right? We received our items and now we need to actually pay on that invoice. We can dive into bill pay then at that point and talk about, okay, how are we going to pay this invoice? So what are the different options we have for getting those invoices into Ramp? I'm going to just go here and say new bill. And what we can see is our first option is to forward invoices to Ramp. So if we have an AP inbox set up for our company that we have all of our invoices sent to, we can set up auto forwarding rules to have those invoices go to our Ramp environment. And if we have multiple entities in our NetSuite environment, we can have different emails set up to be kind of connected to each of those legal entities or subsidiaries that exist, right? So we're able to have that kind of multi-entity functionality available in Ramp to then have it translate appropriately to NetSuite to handle all those different intercompany transactions that also occur with it. So, of course, we want to always focus on automation, so we highly recommend utilizing the forwarding of invoices. And we can set up exactly what invoice or what emails may need to be set up in order to have that auto forwarding occur. Or I can just upload invoices directly into Ramp and have it utilize its OCR functionality, which also would occur with the forwarding of emails from AP inboxes. But the OCR functionality, right, is an AI tool that reads our different documents or invoice documents that come in. It pulls out the data on that document and submits it into Ramp as kind of your different line item details. We can also import bills via a spreadsheet if we need to submit a kind of large number of bills all at once, and we just want to quickly do it via a spreadsheet. We also have the capability for that. Or if we need to do it without an invoice, you're not limited at all with Ramp. But let's look at an invoice we had submitted for that butchery purchase order. We can see I had my invoice document uploaded to Ramp, and Ramp scanned it and took out the necessary information to kind of fulfill and fill in the rest of my document. So that's what these kind of lightning bolt symbols are, is anything that has this lightning bolt next to it means that Ramp scanned the document, pulled it out, and inputted it into our kind of form for you. Again, taking some of that burden off of your finance team to have to fill out this information. So we can see all the invoice information. I can see this actually matched automatically this invoice to my purchase order because it was able to see, okay, I know this is purchase order 110 is what this invoice is connected to. Ramp therefore connects it to purchase order 110 and therefore pulls all the information that we may have attached to that invoice, right? The accounting coding, and attributes it to the different line items that we have. If we maybe didn't have a PO automatically connected, or maybe we didn't have PO number on our invoice document, Ramp would actually suggest what the most likely matching purchase order is for this invoice to give you at least a quick suggestion of what it likely could be. But if needed, I can always change it manually if that situation arises. But I can see here I've got all my different line items attributed, all my different accounting codes that I need. And as we go down, we can see I've got my different payment details. So I've got the ability to pay straight out of Ramp via ACH. I can have a check sent to mail for vendors that prefer to have checks. I can send international wires if needed, or I can utilize my Ramp card and cash in on some of that cash back that gets offered by using it. So plenty of different options to have payments sent directly out of Ramp for you and to your vendors. Also, too, maybe you needed to, or you had already paid this invoice, or you needed to spend in person, whatever reason you're not actually paying this out of Ramp. You can mark it as I won't pay this with Ramp, but you'll still be able to have it all recorded appropriately for you. So, right, all different options for payment situations. And of course, right, since we can see from our invoice, it knows the invoice date, it now picks up the invoice due date of when payment is needed. If we're paying by ACH, then Ramp automatically says, okay, it's going to take about 5 days to deliver. We're going to initiate the payment on the 14th so we can make sure that it delivers by that 21st deadline. Right, and as we scroll to the bottom, depending on what kind of is included in my bill pay, we can see what approvals are going to be needed for it. So, right, can get a quick snippet of that. Once I click continue, it gives me one last chance to say, hey, quickly review the information. Is everything looking correct? Awesome. If so, then we can create our bill payment. And now we can see that bill payment is now off and waiting for approvals to then be synced to NetSuite appropriately. Right, so that's really the key with Ramp. We're able to help manage your corporate credit cards and your employee spending all the way down to your procurement needs, right? If you're procuring inventory items or other different kinds of assets and services, you can manage all of that different kind of spending all through Ramp, all in one platform from end to end, and have it seamlessly integrated to NetSuite for you. Right, so as we can see here quickly, I'm just pulling up a NetSuite instance. I can see I've got my purchase order that I've created in Ramp. Now in NetSuite, I've got all the information of my different fields that are completed. I've got the transaction information down below. And even cooler, if I need to now go and see this transaction in Ramp and I need to maybe investigate or see where it came from, I can quickly click on the URL and it brings me right into Ramp to that purchase order to see what the status of it is and maybe what other information I may need from it. So really key integration between NetSuite and Ramp to showcase that information and make it seamless for our end users to utilize. So that really kind of wraps up our quick demo for today. Of course, there's plenty more I could show you about Ramp and how to leverage it and utilize it. But of course, if you did have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to myself and our team or your providers at Meridian as well to kind of help you navigate what different needs there may be for Ramp and find out how Ramp can be of value to you and your business. But Doug, I will hand it back to you in this last couple minutes to close things up.
You bet. You bet. Thanks, Nigel. Really appreciate the comprehensive overview. There's a lot there to review with Ramp. So if you are interested in learning more, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us and we can connect you with Eric, Nigel, or the rest of their team. Our next partner spotlight will be coming up in the month of November on the 21st with Lightspeed, who is a NetSuite integrated point of sale solution, and would love to host you for that as well. But again, Nigel, thank you so much. And if you would, maybe hit the next slide quickly. If you are interested in learning more about our Meridian's NetSuite practice or getting in touch with the folks at Ramp, please either email me directly, reach out. My phone number's here, or just get to sales@meridianbusiness.com. Get to our website, and you can find here in the next day or so a blog post summarizing what Nigel's covered today or a recording of this session. Very much appreciate it. We're right at the top of the hour. Eric and Nigel, we value our partnership, and thank you again for spending time with us on this webinar today. Appreciate it. And know it's Thursday, but have a great weekend. I may be checking out early tomorrow as well. So take care.
Love it. Thanks, everyone.
Right.
Thank you, Doug.
Bye-bye.